Hey guys, welcome to SmackDown Wrestling Reviews. I am your host Boyze, and we're doing another episode of Raw versus SmackDown. We're looking at both Raw and SmackDown for this week. We're going to give them our scores, and I'm going to pick which show won over the week. I don't usually like doing this format. I usually like to do a Raw review and a SmackDown review, but we've had a lot of technical issues this week, so I'm doing one big episode. But before we get started on that, I just want to say a big thank you to everyone who helped us to get past 100 subscribers. We're at 100 subscribers, guys. Thank you so much. It means so much to us here at SmackDown. It means a lot to me. Thanks to everyone who's shared the videos, liked, subscribed. All of you guys are friggin' awesome. So thank you so much from me, Mr. J, from SmackDown Wrestling. So thank you so much. Now let's get straight on with the Raw review. Let's hit the music. So we started off Raw with Shane O'Mac and Stephanie McMahon. They did their huge heel promo, talk about the Superstar Shake-Up. Shane showed a clip of him beating up Mr. Miz and The Miz. That was his highlight of the last year. And it was kind of foreshadowing of The Miz's arrival to Monday Night Raw. It took nothing away from that impact because it was great. The Miz came out, he took out Shane. He even had a chair, started beating him. We had a bit of crimson, which we don't often get to see. That was awesome. And it, for me, really saved the segment. I think it went a little bit too long with Shane O'Mac and Stephanie boasting their, how good they are as heels. And The Miz coming out really did save this segment. So for me, I'm going to give this a 2.5 out of 5. Mainly because The Miz is freaking awesome and he's injected himself as possibly one of the biggest baby faces on Raw. Next up, we had a huge 8-man tag team match, and this match was very talkable for the WWE community. First things first, we had the babyface team of Zack and Kurt Hawkins, the Raw Tag Team Champions, and they were accompanied with Aleister Black, who has now officially joined Team Raw, and his tag team partner Ricochet. That's right, Ricochet and Aleister Black have joined Raw. Big signings those. I was expecting those two to split and one go to SmackDown, but I'm not too angry. I like Aleister Black and Ricochet's teamwork, so that was good. And they were taking on a team of the Revival and War Raiders, or as we're now going to have to call them, the Viking Experience. God, that sounds like a really bad York Viking Museum exhibition. It really does, doesn't it? It sounds so poor. But yeah, the War Raiders are now the Viking Experience. That was the most talking point of Monday Night Raw, I think, for the most of WWE Universe. The match itself was decent. Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins looked really good. Aleister Black and Ricochet are very talented. The Revival, again, I was very surprised with the Superstar Shake-Up with the Revival. They performed really well, and War Raiders, Viking Experience, were just a powerhouse. They beat the Raw Tag Team Champions. They pinned Kurt Hawkins, and yeah, the match itself was decent. I enjoyed it. But the crowd, I think, once it was announced that they were the Viking Experience, it took away quite a lot. So for me, I'm going to give this a 2.5 out of 5. I think that's a fair score because the match was decent. It highlighted the new tag teams coming in to Monday Night Raw. Next up, we had the Intercontinental Champion Finn Balor taking on Andrade Cien Almas. This was a great match. Andrade coming over from SmackDown, another SmackDown superstar being sent over. I really enjoyed this match. It took a while for it to kick in. It's always a theme with Finn Balor matches. They do kind of take a bit of time before they actually get to top gear. But my God, this this match, it definitely had the chemistry. It's definitely there. It took a while for it to get there. I know a lot of people say, oh, it wasn't the best match. It wasn't. No, I'm not saying it was the best match ever, but I'm saying it definitely had the chemistry. Zelina Vega has also come over from SmackDown to Raw, so she's still going to continue to be Andrade's manager, which is fine, because that's a good partnership there. And it was a decent match. It was decent enough. Both guys really highlighted how good they are. Andrade showing himself to be a huge talent to have on the Raw brand now, and he pinned the Intercontinental Champion. So that obviously, is that going to cause a title shot in the future? We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, I'm recording this now and I know what's happened since then, but I was honestly expecting a long feud between Andrade and Finn Balor, but we don't know what's going to happen. The Intercontinental Championship is up for grabs, it seems, but the match itself is going to get a 3 out of 5 from me, because I actually really enjoyed it. Next up, we had a performance by Elias. Again, Elias is just a magnet for superstars to come out. He stated if anyone comes out, he's going to take him out. What happens? None other than Rey Mysterio, the smallest big man, has arrived back to Raw, and that was great. It was good to see Rey Mysterio back on Raw. I prefer him on SmackDown. I know it sounds selfish, but I always think of SmackDown, I always think of that as the home for Rey Mysterio. I don't often think of Rey Mysterio as a Raw superstar. But yeah, he took out Elias. Elias did try and counter him, but no, Rey took him out. And next thing we know, the legend stalker Lars Sullivan comes out. He takes out Rey Mysterio. Rey puts up a fight, but Lars he's a big man, he's powerful, doesn't get affected too easily by Rey Mysterio's attacks, and he destroys Rey Mysterio. I really enjoyed this segment. It really showing Lars Sullivan as being a legend stalker. He's going for anyone who are classes, as veterans of WWE, and he's going for them. I like that. I think that's a really good way to build up Lars Sullivan's heel character. Rey Mysterio going to Raw works because he's going to, let's be honest, he's replacing where Kurt Angle's going. He's a legend, he's a veteran wrestler. The babyface superstars will be very, they'll look up to him, and the heels will be after him because they want to prove they are better than a veteran legend like Rey Mysterio. So for me, I'm going to give this a 2.5 out of 5. Next up, we had Bobby Roode and Chad Gable. They had an open challenge for any superstars coming from NXT, 205 or SmackDown Live, and their challenge was answered by the Usos. We all knew the Usos were coming since they dropped the belts suddenly on SmackDown Live the week before. It kind of made it obvious they were going to be going to Raw this week. Good introduction for the Usos. The match itself was decent too. Two really good hard-working teams there, and for me, I can't have too many complaints. The Usos they were dominant for the end of the match, but Chad Gable and Bobby Roode showed that they are a good tag team to contend for the tag team titles at some point. But yeah, the Usos are definitely going in there. They've got a lot of work. They are going to be the focus point of the Raw Tag Team division, in my opinion, and which makes sense. The match itself, I'm going to give a 2.5 out of 5. Again, there's one gripe I've got for this, and it was before Chad Gable and Bobby Roode made a challenge that they were about to speak, and the Uso sign came up on the TV. It was kind of like that was the production's team's fault. It wasn't the wrestlers' fault, but it did take away from it. It was kind of obvious it was going to be the Usos, but it would have been still nice not to have that sign come up before they even came out. So for me, like I say, a 2.5 out of 5. Probably the best moment of the show was a moment of bliss. Alexa Bliss was joined by none other than Montreal's son, Sami Zayn. I would say favourite son, but he's really not. Sami really got it going. It was like a Sami Zayn block party. Everyone was having a great time. They were singing. Sami's song. Sami was getting everyone hyped. And then he just turned like that. A great heel turn promo, which is always fantastic. He's already heel, but you'd think he would be babyface in Montreal a little bit more. But no, he he talked about how Montreal is a beautiful city, the architecture, the art, and all this lot, and then he just degrades the people who live in Montreal. He goes, the reason I don't live in Montreal is because of the people. I moved to sunny Orlando so I could get away from the people of Montreal, and it just made the people more annoyed. Not just that he left Montreal, he left Canada to live in America. I think that really got the crowd angry. The great heel promo here by Sami Zayn, and then he storms off after Alexa Bliss tries, again, Alexa Bliss kind of coming off a bit babyface in this segment, where she's asking why Sami thinks he's better than everyone else, and very interesting. I didn't expect that to be the case, but yeah, really enjoyed this segment. The crowd, the Montreal crowd, I just bloody love. They are so much fun and entertaining. So I'm going to give this a 3.5 out of 5. Next up, we had a tag team match, and it was the women's tag team champions, the IIconics, who are still a SmackDown team, but they are allowed to go onto any brand to defend their tag team championships, and they were taking on Bayley and a superstar coming from SmackDown, Naomi. This was actually a decent match. Naomi really fits the tag team scene for me, I think, because she has so many flashy moves, but she doesn't have a large array of moves for herself. But the moves she does have, they're very flashy, and she could really work well in a tag team. Her and Bayley had instant chemistry, in my opinion, as a tag team, and they beat the IIconics. But this was, for me, a good way to show Naomi off in the, for the Raw viewership. She is a great superstar to have on the Raw brand. It made kind of sense that obviously her husband, Jimmy Uso, is on Raw as well. So it made sense her going to Raw as well. So for me, I'm going to give this a 2.5 out of 5. I think that's a fair score for this match. Next up, we had a new signing for Raw, EC3. Yes, EC3 has joined the Raw brand, and he wants challenge. He wants to take on anyone. He's been dying for a match. Calls anyone out, and Braun Strowman comes out. They don't even have the match. Braun Strowman just starts wailing on EC3. EC3 tries to escape. Braun's just dragging him up the stage, beating the crap out of him, and then chokeslams him through next to the announce table, through the it's like a little pathway made out of tables, it seems, and boom, one choke slam. EC3's out. I don't understand why they've done that with EC3. It's a bit of a shame. It's cool to see Braun Strowman just destroy someone, because it's cool, let's be honest, it really is. But yeah, EC3 just seemed like, what's the point of putting him onto the main roster if we were just going to destroy him and bury him in very short time like they have? Because EC3 is a talented wrestler. He's very good on the mic. He's good in the ring. He's not fantastic, but he's good in the ring. So having him get absolutely squashed in the first match, his first night on Raw as a Raw superstar, was just absolutely stupid. So for me, I'm going to give this a 2.5 out of 5, mainly because Braun Strowman's squash, it is a squash, but it's entertaining because it's Braun Strowman. Next up, we had the Raw Women's Champion and SmackDown Women's Champion Becky Lynch taking on Ruby Riott, and the Riott squad was on the side. This was a very, very basic match. The Riott squad tried to get involved. Becky kind of got him away quite a few times. She was not affected by the Riott squad. Usually the Riott squad have that number effect, and it does, one superstar versus 3, let's be honest, but they really are building Becky Lynch as more and more like a massive superstar, which is great. Ruby Riott, it wasn't nothing highlighting Ruby Riott's talents on the Raw brand in this match. She was just there to lose to Becky Lynch. She got out of the disarmer once thanks to Sarah Logan dragging her away. Then Becky got her back into the ring, put her back straight into the disarmer, and Ruby Riott tapped out. Then Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan tried to get into the ring to attack Becky. Becky just pretty much swiped him away. It was like watching a Super Saiyan. Yeah, it just really didn't take much for her to get rid of those two. And then Natalya comes out, and her and Natalya have a promo together, a really little quick promo between Natalya and Becky Lynch to talk about their past, how they travelled the world together, and Natalya is wanting a chance at the Raw Women's Championship. Becky accepts, obviously, she's ready to accept, before she is rudely interrupted by none other than another new signing for Raw, Lacey Evans. Yes, Lacey Evans has joined the Raw brand. Thought that was going to be the case. She stated that she's used her influence to the McMahons, and she's asked for a match against Natalya. The winner will become the #1 contender for the Raw Women's title. Again, a decent match. This is great, really, for Lacey Evans, having someone like a veteran like Natalya, a good safe worker as well in the ring. They had a decent match, nothing spectacular, but it made Lacey Evans look good. Natalya, veteran, she knows what she's doing in the ring, so fantastic for that. Lacey Evans uses the women's rights. Then she does an impressive moonsault, very, very nice. I think it might be better than Charlotte's. And she gets the pin. She is now the #1 contender for the Raw Women's the Raw Women's Championship against Becky Lynch, which is fine. That's fine. I like that feud. It can be a simple feud for Becky Lynch. If she's gonna drop a belt, why not the Raw belt? In my opinion, but for me, I'm gonna give both matches a 2.5 out of 5. It did what it needed to do with Becky Lynch. It made her seem like a very, very strong champion, and it made Lacey Evans look like a capable #1 contender. Last but not least, we had our main event for Raw, and it was Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins with a surprise partner versus Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley, and Baron Corbin. And who was their surprise partner? None other than AJ Styles. Not a massive surprise. AJ has done pretty much everything he can do on SmackDown. It makes sense him going over to Raw. It's new, it's different, and it will work out. I think AJ is one of those superstars. Let's be honest, we all want to see AJ versus Seth for the Universal title, and him being on there now, we can have a lot more dream matches going on the red brand. Very, very strong match for me. The heels there were there to show off what the babyface team can do. One, the new Universal Champion, Roman Reigns, highlighting how good he is, and showing exactly why AJ Styles has been classed as one of, if not the best wrestler in the world. But yeah, it was fantastic. Bobby Lashley, I've got to give Bobby Lashley some credit here. He looked like an absolute tank. It took a stomp, a spear, and a phenomenal elbow, allowed AJ Styles to get the pinfall for the babyface team to win. Good introduction to AJ Styles, instantly puts him as one of the biggest names on Raw in like a second after this match. And that was the main event. I'm going to give the main event a 3 out of 5. I think that's a fair score. It was a good match. It highlighted everyone on the babyface team. The heels didn't really do that much, but it was more about introducing AJ Styles to the Raw audience. So that was Raw for this week. Now I'm going to move on to the SmackDown review for this week. First things first, we started off the show with the Kevin Owens show. He had as a special guest Kofi Kingston, the WWE champion, and his New Day partner Xavier Woods. Big E is not there. He's at home recuperating from an injury. Kevin Owens even made a great joke saying, was it because of the splits last week? Honestly, the Montreal crowd were loving it. Before Kofi and Xavier came out, the crowd just went mental when Kevin Owens came out. Obviously, Kevin Owens' favourite son of Montreal. Let's be honest, he really is. They were enjoying it. Kevin Owens starts the show off speaking French, gets the crowd really happy. I'm not too fussed when wrestlers speak the native tongue of the people they're talking to, so that was fine. Xavier Woods, Kofi Kingston, they're talking to Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens asks some questions, and then he goes on and says, you got a tag team match tonight, but why not add me to your team? I will replace Big E while he's injured. Kofi and Xavier, except they make him do a few little things during the show throughout the night on SmackDown Live to get him as a ready for the New Day. But I've got to give credit where credit is due. I was expecting Kevin Owens to turn heel in this segment, but no, he did really well. He even put on a New Day shirt, which was way too tight for him. But my God, it was entertaining, well put together. Kevin Owens is so entertaining. Xavier going on about up, up, down, down. That his whole roster on there has been destroyed thanks to the superstar shakeup. Kofi Kingston was just fantastic as well. His promos are always good right now as the WWE champion. I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5. We also had Cesaro join Rusev and Shinsuke Nakamura into that tag team match to make it a 6-man tag team match later on the show. Then we got the first acquisition from Raw to SmackDown. The Intercontinental Champion Finn Balor is on the blue brand. Hell yes. Yeah, I'm happy to see this. I'm happy to see Finn back up. First time on SmackDown Live, brilliant. He was taking on Mustafa Ali. Really good match here. Both guys, it took a while for the chemistries to start, exactly like Andrade, but really showing how good Mustafa Ali is. It really worked for him, really worked for Finn. Just showing Finn, look, we're so used to Finn taking on big guys on Raw, so him going on and having a match against someone similar size, similar abilities and techniques like Mustafa Ali was refreshing. It was a really good introduction to Finn Balor, made Ali look really good as well. Finn did win, obviously. It's his first night on SmackDown Live, his new brand, and for me, I'm happy with this. I'm happy with Finn Balor being on SmackDown Live. He gets the victory and he even shakes hands with Mustafa Ali. Good babyface night for Finn Balor. So for me, I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5. Solid start to his career. Very good match. Very, very good match in my opinion. Cannot wait to see what's going to happen with the Intercontinental Championship. Now it's on SmackDown Live. Then we had a singles match where we saw Carmella versus Charlotte Flair. This was a great reversal of roles. We saw last year where it was Carmella who was heel and Charlotte which was babyface. It really didn't work, but this time when they've reversed it where Carmella is the babyface, Charlotte is the Flair. Carmella plays a great underdog babyface. Very decent match. This just shows how good Charlotte is. She makes the match seem like Carmella had slim chances every time in the match. It wasn't always dominant Charlotte Flair, which was good. Charlotte did win. She won with a figure 8, but she really had to work for that match against Carmella. The crowd really worked with the Carmella babyface role in this one, and I was surprisingly enjoying this match. Obviously I've seen Charlotte versus Carmella before. Roles reversed, I didn't enjoy it, but this time around I actually enjoyed it. The right result was there. Charlotte won. She comes across as a very much the biggest heel on the SmackDown Women's division, and Carmella again is one of the biggest baby faces on SmackDown Live. R-Truth was with her. R-Truth makes sure she's okay. Charlotte Flair goes off. Lars Sullivan comes out. It is now confirmed Lars Sullivan is not on Raw. He's actually signed for SmackDown Live, and he takes out another veteran superstar, R-Truth. He literally devastates R-Truth in the ring. He gives Carmella a look. A referee has to drag her out of the ring before Lars Sullivan does anything to her, and then he continues destroying R-Truth. With the match, with the Lars Sullivan attack on a veteran superstar, I really enjoyed it. A surprisingly good little segment where I wasn't expecting too much. So I'm going to give this a 2.5 out of 5. Next up we had Becky 2 belts on SmackDown Live, and Tom Phillips made an interesting announcement. Becky Lynch is technically signed as a SmackDown superstar. So her home brand, her brand is technically still SmackDown, as she hasn't moved to Raw. So she is the Raw Women's Champion. She will be going to Raw. But if she loses that belt, she's back down to SmackDown. Interesting. Very, very interesting. I thought that was very interesting from Tom Phillips when he said Becky's home brand is SmackDown Live. I like that. I like that. If she loses to Lacey Evans, she's still SmackDown Women's Champion, and that's fine because the women's division on SmackDown after this segment is bloody stacked. So Becky comes out. She has a great little promo. Becky's promos are killing it right now. Then she's interrupted by none other than the new signing of Ember Moon. Yes, Ember Moon has come to SmackDown Live. She cuts a fantastic promo stating that now she's on SmackDown Live, she's challenging for those titles. Fans are happy to see Ember Moon. Next up, another Raw superstar coming to SmackDown Live, Bayley. Very hostile reaction from the Montreal crowd to Bayley. I don't think it's because of everything which is going on or with the Sasha Banks things. I think this is more with how WWE have booked her, and fans just finally getting sick and tired of the Bayley thing. I think she needed a swap. I think she needed a change, and coming to SmackDown Live was a massive step forward for her character. Her and Becky have a bit of a one-to-one. That means 3 of the 4 horsewomen are on SmackDown Live now. Oof. Exciting times. Exciting times. The IIconics come out. They obviously are still showing off the women's tag team championship, especially to Bayley, who just recently lost them to the IIconics at WrestleMania. Then Paige comes out. She's about to introduce her new team. Then Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose come out, and it's like, oh, is Absolution back together? And Paige's like, no. Her new team, her new tag team who are going to be challenging for those women's tag team championships are Asuka and former NXT women's champion Kairi Sane. We got the Pirate Princess on SmackDown Live. This obviously turned into an altercation when Paige told Kairi and Asuka to prove what they're worth. They go out, they start having a fight. Becky Lynch is just like watching on in the corner like, I'm getting out of here because I don't need to fight right now. And she just walks away. And then this obviously turns into a 8-woman tag team match. The match itself, I'm quickly going to go into it because I've talked quite a lot about this segment. Decent match. Really highlighting the new arrivals to SmackDown Live. And that was the big thing. Kairi Sane getting the insane elbow, getting the victory. And there we go. Big thing is though, it just highlights how little the heels are on the women's division. Stacked, the women's division is massively stacked now on SmackDown Live, but they need to really create some super heels out of the heels they've got, or they need to turn one of the baby faces into a heel. But I cannot wait to see where all this goes. But I really am enjoying the SmackDown women's division now that they've kind of fixed that. The tag team division looks like it's got a lot of work now that there is a gap there since the Usos have gone. But I think the Hardys can fill that up with working with a bar, and then the Usos working the SmackDown, well, the Raw tag team division now will fix that. So for me, I'm going to give this match a 2.5 out of 5. I think that's a fair score because it was just highlighting the new arrivals to SmackDown Live. Next up, we had a 6-man tag team match where we saw the WWE champion teaming up with his New Day partner Xavier Woods and the honourable Big O Kevin Owens taking on none other than Shinsuke Nakamura, Rusev and Cesaro. The match itself was fun. It was absolutely insane. I was expecting, again, like I keep saying, a Kevin Owens heel turn, but it didn't happen. And the match itself was insane. It was more fun. It was towards the babyface team. Heels really didn't do too much. Rusev and Shinsuke showing a little bit more chemistry as a tag team, but apart from that, you could have replaced them with any other heels on the SmackDown roster, and that would have done the job as well. But yeah, everyone got to show off their finisher. Kevin Owens winning the match with a stunner. I love that the stunner is his finisher now on SmackDown Live since he's returned. I really like that. And yeah, babyface team wins, no complaints. I'm going to give this a 2.5 out of 5. Then for our main event of the night, we were getting told this all night. Mr. McMahon had a huge announcement, the biggest signing in SmackDown history. And he comes out, Mr. McMahon, the crowd are booing, obviously, the Montreal screw job. The chanting Brett. And Mr. McMahon says this man is the future of SmackDown Live. He's the biggest acquisition in SmackDown Live history. None other than Elias. Elias comes out, he's about to perform. He does rant a little bit to Mr. McMahon about how he was attacked at WrestleMania by John Cena, how he was attacked on the Raw after WrestleMania by The Undertaker. But he appreciates that he sees the future. He knows what the future is, and the future is Elias. And he all knows that WWE stands for Walk with Elias. He's about to play again, and then he's interrupted by none other than probably SmackDown's biggest acquisition since Charlotte Flair, in my opinion. Roman Reigns is on SmackDown Live. Roman takes out Elias. He even smacks Vince McMahon, and then he's about to leave, and then he spears Elias again. The big dog cuts a huge promo stating SmackDown Live is now his yard. I'm not angry with this. I thought I would be really angry with Roman Reigns going from Raw to SmackDown, because I really enjoyed that SmackDown didn't have that type of superstar. But having Roman Reigns on SmackDown Live could be very interesting, and it's smart. It's very smart to put Roman on SmackDown Live, mainly because he's just come back, and 2, he's a huge name, which could help with the transition to go into Fox in October. So for me, whole segment, Vince McMahon, Elias working so well, then Roman Reigns coming out. I kind of expected it, but I didn't as well. Was a huge signing for SmackDown Live. I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5. And there you go, that was Raw and SmackDown for this week. Who do I think won? Well, I think Raw, there was a lot of this is new, this is new, this is new, this is new, and this is new. With SmackDown, it was the same, but like you still had story point tellings with like Kofi and Kevin Owens take of the show, which was fantastic. I think everything kind of felt, I felt like there was less superstars coming to SmackDown Live. We did get Buddy Murphy as well, get a video. He's going to SmackDown Live as well. Very good signing for SmackDown on that one. It's like signing an NXT champion when you sign the former 205 champion. In my opinion, it's like signing him. But who won for this week? Well, I'm going to give Raw for this week a 2.5 out of 5. I think that's a fair score throughout the whole show. For SmackDown Live, though, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. I think the signings, we got a lot less superstars coming from Raw to SmackDown, but we got a lot more bigger names coming to SmackDown. But what was your favourite part of a superstar shakeup, guys? Leave it in the comments below. What was your most surprise superstar shakeup? Leave it in the comments below. If you do like our videos, don't forget to like, subscribe, press that bell to keep notified. And like I said at the beginning of this video, guys, thank you so much for all the guys who subscribed. Thank you everyone to helping us get to 100 subscribers. You guys are freaking awesome. We appreciate everything. Thank you. That's all I can say. With all that said and done, if you do like our videos, don't forget you can follow us on Twitter at SmackTalkYouTube. That's a U and a tube. If you want to follow me on the old Twitter, it is at Boyze88. And I'll see you guys next time on Smack Talk Wrestling Reviews.